Well, hello and welcome to Business 360. I am Ashmit Kumar, and here are the headlines that we're tracking this evening. 158 people are dead and 200 injured after multiple landslides in Kerala's Wayanad district. More than 190 people remain unaccounted for, and the rescue efforts continue. Over 3,000 people have been moved to relief camps. Sensex and Nifty ended a record close for the fourth straight day. Mid-caps continue to outperform. Maruti Suzuki beats estimates in Q1. Revenue rises 10% and profits surge 47%. M&M reports a strong operational performance even as revenue growth falls short of expectations. Union government is looking at proposals received to allay the impact of the removal of indexation on real estate. Sources say no decision has been taken yet. Union Minister Nitin Gadkari writes to Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, calls for removal of 18% GST on health and life insurance products. A CNBC-TV18 analysis shows that government collected more than 87,000 crore rupees as GST in FY24. The standoff between government and opposition worsens in Parliament. Congress party moves a privilege motion against Prime Minister Modi for sharing a BJP MP Anurag Thakur's expunged remarks on Rahul Gandhi's caste. The political leader of Hamas, Ismail Haniyeh, is killed in Tehran, raising fears of further unrest in the region. Hamas blames Israel for the attack and Iran promises revenge. Israel is yet to confirm or deny its involvement. Supreme Court reserves its verdict on the retrospective application of the judgment upholding the rights of state governments to tax mineral output. Union government along with Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan argue against retrospective application. Jharkhand claims poorer states cannot forego revenue. A fresh twist to the mother and son battle at Godfrey Phillips. A Delhi court vacates the interim stay order protecting Sameer Modi's position as director and lifts the injunction on the sale of the retail business. Sources say Sameer Modi is exploring legal options. The Company Law Appellate Tribunal pauses the settlement between Byju's and the BCCI. The court allows Byju's to submit an undertaking on the source of funds after US lenders raised objections. India's paddlers and shuttlers shine at the Paris Olympics. Manika Batra and Shrija Akula become the first Indian women to enter the round of 16 in table tennis. Lakshya Sen stuns world number 4 Jonathan Christie to enter the knockouts. Well, let's begin with a quick look at the stock market action for the day. Sensex and Nifty ended with marginal gains, but it was a record close for the fourth straight session. Mid-caps outperformance continues with the index gaining over 350 points. Banks relatively underperformed the indices. And well, the stock markets across the world will have their eyes fixed on the US Federal Reserve tonight. The Fed will be announcing its fifth interest rate decision of 2024. Analysts expect benchmark rates to remain unchanged, but they will hunt for clues on when the Fed will ease rates. According to a CNBC survey, more than 80% of Wall Street is expecting a cut in September. Meanwhile, Bank of Japan has raised its benchmark interest rates to around 0.25%, the highest in 14 years. Well, shifting focus to the earnings quarter now, the big earnings. India's largest automaker, Maruti Suzuki, posted an all-round beat in Q1. Net profit up close to 47% year-on-year. Sonia Shenoy is joining us now with the numbers. Sonia.
Well, the numbers are actually looking very good, much higher than what the street was estimating. And it's an all-round beat on Maruti's performance this time around. So just taking you through the earnings, right? The profits for Maruti have gone up almost 12%, coming in at 3,650 crores. The revenues are up almost about 3% as well. The EBITDA has gone up 13% at 4,500 crores, while the margins for Maruti have gone up 130 basis points. If you look at it at 12.7%, this is much higher than what CNBC-TV18's poll was. Even if you look at the profits, right, 3,650 crores is what the company has reported. This compares to a CNBC-TV18 poll of 3,272 odd crores. Now, for Maruti, the net profits have gone up about 46%. And if you look at it, it's the margin expansion is largely because of better operating leverage as well as a better product mix that the company has delivered.
Right, Sonia, thanks a lot for that. From Maruti to M&M now, which reported a mixed set of numbers in the first quarter. Net profit dropped by 5% on a year-on-year basis. Revenue for the quarter came in below CNBC-TV18's poll, even as it increased 12% for the quarter. However, the company's EBITDA beat street estimates, rising by 22% on a YOY basis. And more earnings. Uja Cement missed the expectations in the quarter ending June. Standalone profit came in at 570 crore rupees, down over 11% year-on-year. EBITDA declined over 30% to nearly 650 crore rupees. Margins also came down to just over 14% from 20% when compared to last year. Now back to New Delhi, the union government is looking at proposals received to allay the impact of the removal of indexation on real estate. The decision to withdraw indexation in the budget sparked a backlash. However, sources say that no decision has been taken yet. Timsy Jaipuria is joining us with more. Timsy.
Well, that's right. What we are given to understand from sources is that as we speak, currently government is mulling over various representations that it has received on the budget proposal to remove indexation benefits on the real estate deal. As we speak, there's no decision that has been taken, but yes, these representations have been received post the budget announcement and they are currently being examined at the North Block. North Block is currently mulling over these. Now, some of the proposals that have come through these representations are including to have a dual regime, just like the old and new regime in the personal tax. That's what representation suggests, that it should be left open for the people to decide whether they want to take the indexation benefit by paying 20% long-term capital gains or go for no indexation benefit with 12.5% as announced by the budget. So they have actually pitched that there could be a dual regime and let people decide which is a benefit that they want to take, or to keep indexation benefit for properties that have been bought before July 2024. Some of these proposals are there in these representations as I listed out, and they are being mulled upon. Now remember, in the budget, government announced very clearly that indexation benefit needs to go away to bring in parity with all the asset classes and to bring in further simplification, and budget proposed lowering the long-term capital gains tax on real estate to 12.5% without the indexation benefit. We've sent queries to the Finance Ministry which currently remain unanswered, but yes, sources indicate that such a proposal is under consideration. Government is mulling upon all these representations that it has received. Back to you.
Right, Timsy, thanks a lot for that. Now, here's a significant step towards privatization of IDBI Bank. Sources tell us that the proposal to sell stake in the bank has received the fit and proper clearance from the Reserve Bank of India. With this, the bidders for the bank will begin their due diligence from early August. Sources also tell us that the government will call for financial bids before the end of this financial year. Now, the deadline for filing income tax return for this year ends today. However, it can be filed by 31st of December with a penalty of 5,000 rupees. According to the latest data by the Finance Ministry, the total number of registered taxpayers on the e-filing portal is over 12 crores as things stand. Now, Union Minister Nitin Gadkari has requested Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman to consider removing GST on life and health insurance products. A CNBC-TV18 analysis shows that the government collected nearly 90,000 crore rupees in GST in FY24 alone. Yash Jain joining us now with more details. Yash, what is the potential impact that the government's kitty may be looking at if this 18% GST is done away with?
Well, Ashmit, first of all, this is not the first time that we've heard, this particular demand of removing GST on life insurance as well as health insurance products. Both industries, life and general insurance industry, have been asking for this particular relaxation from the government time and again since quite some time. What Nitin Gadkari today has done is that he's written a letter to the finance minister. He's taken a step forward. He said that, the finance ministry should consider removing GST on life insurance as well as health insurance or medical insurance products entirely. So it becomes interesting in that case when so far the industry has been asking to reduce GST from 18% to 12%. Nitin Gadkari has requested for a complete removal of GST on both life and medical insurance products. According to Gadkari, levying 18% GST on life insurance means levying tax on uncertainties of life, and putting GST on medical insurance is a deterrent for the growth of this socially necessary sector. Strong words as far as that particular request letter itself is concerned, but we've been doing some rough math on what could be at stake, and the numbers are quite big. The industry, life insurance industry, collected about 3.78 lakh crore rupees in premium ex-GST in FY24. Health insurance industry collected 1.1 lakh crore in premium in FY24. That is also ex-GST. 18% on health insurance premium would have meant about 19,600 crore in GST, which the government is likely to have collected. And on life insurance premium at about 68,000 crore rupees is what the government could have collected in FY24 as far as the premium collection numbers, and 18% on that number is concerned. Total GST collection about 87,600. So numbers are big, but one needs to remember that there are states also involved in any decision when it comes to GST on various products. They also have their share in terms of, the total GST collection, and it will be a difficult one, to have a consensus view on something like this, talking about the proposal of removing or reducing GST on health insurance and life insurance.
Right, Yash, thanks a lot for that. Nitin Gadkari sending out a message to the finance minister saying that the government should not be taxing the life's uncertainties. With that, let's shift focus now to the court corner. The Supreme Court has reserved order on whether state governments have the right to impose retrospective taxation on mining activity. A 9-judge bench of the Supreme Court upheld the rights of the state government to tax activities linked to extraction of minerals. Now, the court will have to decide if this tax can be applied retrospectively. The union government argued against retrospective taxation, saying it will have a cascading impact across industries and consumers. State governments of Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan, meanwhile, supported the union government stance, but Jharkhand argued that poorer states cannot afford to forego revenue. Odisha, Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan and Karnataka account for nearly 90% of all mining activity in India. Jharkhand, meanwhile, accounts for just over 4% of all mineral output in the country. On the Byju's versus BCCI case, the National Company Law Appellate Tribunal has decided to pause the payment settlement agreed by both parties. The Appellate Tribunal has allowed Byju's to submit an undertaking on the source of the funding to settle this claim of 158 crore rupees, of which Byju's has paid 50 crore rupees already and was to clear the remaining amount of dues by 9th of August. The NCLAT's pause comes after the US lenders opposed the settlement agreement, claiming that the tribunal cannot bless such a transaction which has quote-unquote tainted money. And a fresh twist to the mother and son battle at Godfrey Phillips. A Delhi court has vacated the interim stay order which protected Samir Modi's position as a director in the company. The court held that Godfrey Phillips cannot be compelled to appoint Samir Modi as a director. However, the court also directed Beena Modi to not contravene the succession deed and also directed her to recommend Samir Modi for nomination as a director. The court also lifted the injunction on the sale of the retail business of the group under the brand name 24/7. Sources say that Samir Modi is exploring legal options after the verdict. And in the aviation space, Delhi High Court has directed SpiceJet to pay 20 crore rupees to two engine lessors by the 8th of August. The two lessors, Team France and Sunbird France, leased 4 engines to SpiceJet, had moved the court claiming unpaid dues. The High Court has also directed for SpiceJet's CFO to appear before the court in person in case the airline fails to make that payment of 20 crores as directed. And while staying with the news about the airline, SpiceJet is also struggling to pay its employees on time. The airline hasn't paid June salaries to several employees. The airline said that salaries are being dispersed in a phased manner. And till date, 95% of employees have already received their June salaries. The airline said that this process is aligned with its salary disbursement practice for past 4 years. And Ola Electric's founder, Bhavish Agarwal, has called MapMyIndia's opportunistic for filing notice alleging copying of data for creating Ola Maps. Agarwal also said that the company will be responding to MapMyIndia publicly and stressed that Ola Electric is not involved in the mapping business.
On the MapMyIndia notice, see, we have put out a public statement that we will definitely respond to it publicly, and we think it is very opportunistic of them, and Ola Electric is not even in the maps business. You know, we are a group, we have 3 different entities in the group: Ola Cabs, Ola Electric, and Ola Kritrim. And Ola Electric is not in the maps business. But there are opportunistic players across, so we will definitely respond to them at the right time.
Well, let's shift focus now to global earnings. Shares of tech giant Microsoft declined despite beating the street's expectations in the June quarter. Investors looked past better than expected earnings and revenue and focused instead on disappointing cloud results. But on the overall earnings, Microsoft's revenue increased by 15% YOY. In the fiscal's fourth quarter, the cloud business generated nearly $29 billion in revenue, up 19% year on year. Earnings per share came in at nearly $3 per share. And electronics major Samsung beat the street's expectations in April to June quarter. The South Korean giant's operating profit soared by a whopping 1,400% to $7.5 billion. This is on the back of robust demand for its advanced memory chips. Samsung expects a strong demand for AI to persist in the second half as well. And the U.S. Senate, importantly, has passed major online child safety reforms in a nearly unanimous vote on Tuesday. Although the legislation, which has drawn mixed reactions from the tech industry and faces uncertainties with respect to the House of Representatives, the 2 bills would need to be passed in the Republican-controlled House, which is currently on recess until September to become law. And with that, it's time now for slipping into a very short break. But coming up, 158 people are dead and 200 injured after multiple landslides in Kerala's Wayanad district. More details when we come back. Welcome back. Now, the death toll is nearing at least 160 in Wayanad, a day after massive landslides struck 2 villages in the district. The IMD has predicted heavy rainfall in the region to continue till tomorrow as rescue operations are ongoing with 9 NDRF teams on the ground. National flags across the state are flying at half-mast as the government announced two-day mourning. Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan said that over 190 people remain unaccounted for and more than 200 have been injured and receiving treatment. Well, here's the big global story today. Hamas political chief Ismail Haniyeh and a bodyguard have been killed as per Hamas and Iran Revolutionary Guards. The Hamas statement called the killing a treacherous Zionist raid on his residence in Tehran. Haniyeh was visiting Iran for the inauguration of President Masoud Pezeshkian. Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Khamenei has vowed avenging Haniyeh's assassination as Tehran's duty. Turkey, China and Russia have condemned the killing, labeling it as a heinous, while Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas described it as a cowardly act. Qatar has warned of a regional escalation. Haniyeh's death comes hours after Israel claimed that it had killed Hezbollah's top military commander in a strike on Lebanon's capital city, Beirut. The strike was a retaliation for a rocket attack that killed 12 children at the weekend. Well, 42% of Indian women face workplace bias and 37% experience insensitive behavior. This, according to a study by professional services firm Aon. The report gathered inputs from nearly 24,000 professional women from over 560 companies. Shivani Bajaj is joining us now with some of these concerning trends emerging as a result of this Aon report.
Well, absolutely. Concerning details coming from the Aeon's new report, 42% of women in corporate jobs in India face bias or potential bias at work, with 37% experiencing insensitive behavior. Additionally, the report says 6% of the surveyed women reported sexual harassment, yet less than half officially reported these incidents. While 90% of the women are motivated to go above and beyond in their roles by putting extra time, volunteering for challenging projects and upskilling, a significant portion faces bias and insensitive behavior at workplaces. The report also suggests that 75% working mothers report career setbacks of 1 to 2 years post-maternity leave, and nearly 40% state that their salaries were negatively impacted or their role changed to less desirable positions. The study also highlights a troubling trend in senior management, where 34% of women in leadership roles reported facing discrimination compared to 17% at the entry-level positions. This indicates that the bias intensifies as women advance in their careers. Women who faced this bias were 3.5 times more likely to perceive their organizational experiences as unfair, with 21% indicated intentions to leave their jobs within a year, compared to only 6% of women who did not face this bias. On a positive side, the study reveals that 53% of women who have visible female leaders in their organization feel confident about their career growth. 52% of these women report a positive impact on the workplace culture, and 41% view these leaders as role models. Back to you.
And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Business 360. More news and updates will continue right here on CNBC TV 18.